And welcome back to another episode of Elevate Students. We're glad to be coming back to you again today. My name is Damien.
What's going on? Name is Nick.
And good. We're coming back today with a brand new episode that we're super excited about, and one that I think will help our students for sure. And it's just like anything else, though, right? If you just listen to our words and you say, oh, those are nice words, but you never do anything about it, like it's not going to help you. But today we want to talk about influences. What do you allow to influence you? And I know if I could speak for everybody that's listening, everybody on the podcast today, and anybody who hears this has influences, and I have allowed influences in my own mind, in my own life, to sway me in directions I'm not proud of, and make decisions that I regret later on. And does that happen to you ever, or is that just me?
No, 100%. I mean, I used to hang out with a crowd that were doing things that should not have been done, and then now I had to let those people go out of my life, and now I hang out with a bunch of great friends and everything like that.
So right there, you said you had to let those people go. So
Yes.
what was there a moment in your life that you came to that you're like, or what was the driving force that made you say, these people are no good for me, and I need to make this right. I need to get them out. Don't let them influence me anymore.
Well, 100%. I mean, the biggest thing is just accepting on knowing what I want. And what I mean by that is actually taking my faith seriously. And then once you take your faith seriously and you put your life to God, it will start realizing, God has a plan for you. You just got to choose to listen. And when you choose to listen to that plan, you'll realize that the things that are in your life is not good. You will take it out yourself.
Yeah, so it's following the Lord.
Yes.
And the Holy Spirit will prompt you and say, look, that's not a good thing for you. I know that a lot of young people today struggle with video games.
Yes.
We got video games. I mean, when I was coming up, video game, okay, I will say this. I didn't have like Nintendo 64 or anything like that, right? Like I'm young enough that it was like PS2 is what I had in my house.
No, I had that too. Don't worry. You're not that old.
Yeah. PS2, but I think PS2s were new. It was like the rage.
Yeah.
And but even then, my parents didn't let me play like the shoot 'em up, cowboy games or whatever. I wasn't playing Grand Theft Auto or anything like that. But it's games like that. And did you know that there was a study done? This is a true story. There was a study done that said Minecraft is the most addictive game
100%.
ever made.
Yep.
And kids will spend hours and hours on that and not want to get off of it.
No.
And Minecraft, as far as I know, I've never played it, like sat down and actually played it. I've like, give me the controller. Let me see what's going on. But never like set up a profile and like played the game.
No, I never have either. I know a lot of people that have though.
Yeah.
And it's like you're creating your own world.
I can see how that would be addicting.
Yes.
Kind of like The Sims back in the day.
Yes.
Is it similar?
It's somewhat similar, but I mean, I know that you can visit other people's worlds. I don't know if you can do that in Sim, but
Okay.
But I think the reason why people are so addicted of it because a lot of people have the mindset, if I don't get it my way, it's the highway. But in Minecraft, you can have it however way you want it. I think that's the reason why it's so addicting.
That's interesting. Yeah. And so there have been studies done, and they say that like they call it digital cocaine, right? So
Yep.
and there's books and stuff that I've read on this, just dealing with teenagers or working with teenagers and meeting them where they're at. It's like I want to be good at video games too, but then I see like, all right, well this distracts me from my family, distracts me from things I need to be focusing on. Video games will take away from what is necessary in my life. And so I start to see if I get into Fortnite, because I don't know if I have like an addictive personality, but it's like if I start to get into video games, then that's all I'll do.
Yep.
I'll go home and I'll turn on the Xbox and I'll play that all night instead of playing with my 3-year-old, or my 1-year-old. And or talking to my wife or whatever it might be.
Yep.
And so was there an action or something that was said where you're like, man, these people are no good for me?
It was mostly an event.
Okay.
Event happened to me where I was with people, and it was mostly just wrong place at wrong time. And once that incident happened, I really reflected, and I'm like, what am I doing? And then, I'll never forget the night, me and Jesus hashed it out. We were battling, and, obviously he won, he always
Praise the
wins.
Lord, right?
He always wins. So, and then, it just came really clear to me, and I said, you know what, I'm going to follow you, and I just want you to show me what I need to do. And then he showed me a path where I need to go. And then I realized that path had nothing to do with the crowd I was hanging out with. And actually, that was probably the best decision of my life. Just because those people right now, I don't talk to them anymore, but they are going down a path that is not right. I mean, there's one dude I used to hang out with. He's right now a suspect. I don't know the details, but he's a suspect of murder.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing.
It's a great thing.
thing.
And now I have my best friend, Donovan, who's getting married in, November 21st. And me and him, we actively talked about Jesus. We talk about it every single day. I literally was on the phone call with him this morning, and we were talking about things that we could do. And he helped me with devotions, and he's not my best friend, but he's also my counselor as well. And so having those people is crucial.
Yeah, right. Not just not having bad influences, but it's proactively bringing in people and things that will influence us in the right way.
Yes.
That is so crucial to this walk with the Lord that we're talking about. And so it's a great thing. You get rid of your rock music and your rap music and everything else, that glorifies a world that God has nothing to do with.
Yep.
Get rid of that for sure. But you got to bring in good music. And there's lots out there now. It's a whole industry of Christian music that you can check out and find what you like. And there's different genres of it, or different ways that it's produced that kind of can appeal to a wide mass of people. But it's all about bringing it. So you get rid of the bad friends, get rid of those who are on trial for murder or whatever, or a suspect or whatever, and get rid of those people, certainly, for sure. But also get good friends.
Yeah.
And a great place to do that is church. School, you find some Christian friends at school. However you can, bring in those good influences. Be proactive about it. One thing that I often preach, especially on Wednesday nights, is okay, if you say, I want to do this, I want to be pure,
yes,
for instance, right? So what that entails, it's so much easier to be pure in the future if you decide right now to be pure.
Yes.
So if you say, I want to save sex for marriage, and I want to be clean, not, clean is, it's a Bible word for it. But I want to live my life for God. I want to give Jesus my heart until he gives me that person that I'm supposed to leave and cleave to.
And we 100% recommend this.
100% abstinence only teaching, for sure. And that's never going to change. So if you say right now, in the future, I want to be pure until my wedding day for my husband, for my wife. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, decide now that, okay, I'm not going to do things that would lead to
that action.
Yes. That means you don't hold hands. That means you don't kiss. That means you don't, do what you're not hugging up on each other.
Or as well, hanging out with the crowd that always talks about it or does it.
Or does it. Yeah.
Because, when I was in college and we learned about sociology, the thing about it is that you conform to the group that you are with.
Sure.
So let's say you hate Taylor Swift. You don't like listening to music, but you hang out with a group of people that love Taylor Swift. You're going to listen to them and go, gosh, this sucks. God, this sucks. But then you're hanging out with them more and it's I don't like it, but it's not terrible. And then you're like, okay, this is nice. And then a year later,
some nice songs.
A year later, you're like, when's the next concert? it's big as that, like that. So if you have that group of people, let's say, that are abstinent towards sex, you're least likely to have it.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's stronger when you have that relationship with God, though. If you have that relationship with God and then you're with the people that are abstinent with sex, They're golden.
Those people are going to help you. They're going to
Yes.
solidify you in it. They're not going to pressure you into something that you decided you're not going to do.
Yes.
I just want to clear up for the record. I'm a huge T Swizzle fan. All right. Love Taylor Swift. I'm just kidding. So I did up until the Red album, but whatever. We'll talk about that later. And but yeah, those people that you allow to speak into your life,
Yes.
they are going to control. I can't tell you how many times I've heard, I'm with so and so, and I know they got like this huge red flag, like this crazy thing. They're not even a Christian, whatever.
Yeah.
And but I'm gonna help them. I'm gonna change them. They never do. It always ends up where that person who had that huge red flag drags that person down with them.
Yep. And it's funny that you said that, because me and my best friend Donovan were literally talking about that yesterday. We call that mission dating.
Yeah.
Mission dating. And 8 out of 10 times, it never goes the way you would have.
That's pretty generous.
That's
it's more like
generous.
10 out of 10 times. But.
9 out of 10 times, it never goes the way.
Right.
I mean, it never does.
And it's unfortunate. And yes, you want to be an influence on other people.
Yes.
Certainly. But it's so important that you guard yourself, you protect yourself.
100%.
And, and hopefully people aren't so powerful in your life. You haven't already allowed people to be so powerful in your life that they would pull you away from that.
So I think the biggest thing where I feel people struggle with friend groups and everything, deciding on leaving an old group and going to a new group, is that what I've noticed is a lot of people feel guilty when they leave their old friends, and then they're not accepting of the new ones.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that's huge.
Well, it's hard. It's
Yes.
hard to leave behind something that you have known forever.
Yeah.
If you had the same friends, or it can even be family,
Yes.
cousins or whatever.
That's huge. Yes.
That are a part of your life, and maybe even like there's no way around it. Like there's nothing you can do to not be around them. And to that, I would say, it's like you can be around someone and not allow them to influence you. It's hard.
It's tough.
It's not an easy thing to do, but it's a purposeful decision that you make, where
Yes.
you say, I'm not going to believe what they say. That's not who I am. And you tell them,
Yeah.
I know I was that way, and you think it's weird, and you're right, because anymore it's strange to be a pure teenager.
Yes.
It's strange to have guidelines and boundaries for yourself. For some reason, this has happened, and I think there's a lot of cultural shifts and things in society that has happened that have pulled us down a road that 20, 30, 50 years ago we never saw coming. And but it's here now, and so we have to, we're going to fight against it. But unfortunately, you'll never be able to get away from it all the way.
No.
As long as you're on social media, as long as you are not a hermit who just sits in their house all day, never turns on the TV or anything, unless you're that person, you will be around things that are trying to pull at you.
That is so crazy that you said that, because I went to the gym this morning, and I'm now listening to Christian music. It's a new thing I've been doing. I actually enjoy it. It's actually really nice. There was a verse that he said, how can you say you're a follower of Jesus if your best friend is social media?
Yep. Yeah.
And I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
That's a huge thing.
Yep. Even if you have tons of Christian friends, you follow preachers or whatever on Instagram, or, are they preachers on Snapchat? I don't really know, but it's like, if you follow these people, there's still, you're so inundated with ads and with, people in your life that aren't that way, or, Instagram and Facebook, you end up like in the weeds on friends. It's like friend of a friend of a friend who added you. You met them one time, and now you see their stuff. And, I try to anymore. I am being better about, they call it doom scrolling. That's where you're just sitting on your phone, just scrolling through IG or Facebook or whatever. Facebook, I'm done with doom scrolling on Facebook. I've managed to eradicate it from my life. But Instagram, I'm getting there.
I'm struggling with that one.
Yeah. And it's to the point now where, like, if I see, because like you can see like their name come up before you see their post, kind of.
Yep.
And like if I see like a teenager like in the youth group or whatever, I'll scroll right by like real quick because I
Yep.
don't want to see it because it just discourages me.
Yeah.
You know, it just and I tell them that like I'm not shy about that. Like we have to be better about what we're posting on Facebook. But again, it's just these influences. Like, okay, the influence there, like when if I post something on Instagram, I expect it to get 50 likes. And if it doesn't, I take it down. That's that's the pull of social media. It's like that need to be popular, that need for acceptance.
Yes.
And it's hard. And so to break that, that's a purposeful move. Nobody just fixes their influences like that. It's never on accident.
No.
It's always on purpose.
It's your dopamine in your head.
Right.
It's a huge thing.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. So you asked me this question. I'm going to turn it on to you. Just 'cause really no one, I mean, I hate to, label you as a, youth pastor and everything, but, you are. But, I know you're Damien.
Yeah. I'm mostly that, though.
So mostly everyone knows that, like, an influence for other people is usually 9 times out of 10 the pastor or a youth pastor. Who, as a youth pastor, who are your influences? Who do you go to? Who do you look up to?
That's a great question. I try to be an influencer,
Yes.
so to speak.
Yes.
But
who are
because
yours?
I want to be an example.
Yes.
But I have. So this is huge for me. Something that I learned right away. I went to college. I left home. Went. I think it was 3,000 miles, maybe not quite 3,000 miles away, but from Portland, Oregon to Crown Point, Indiana. Right outside Chicago, so like far away. I didn't know one person when I got there. Kind of did it on purpose to get away from home. Huge mistake. Like I shouldn't have done that, but I did. And so I get there, and all the friends that I made that first year were people my age. Okay. And they were people that were on my dorm floor, and just people that were around in my classes, things like that. So I went home. It was a big blow up at the college, and then a professor called me up over the summer. He's like, "Hey, I want to make sure that you're coming back. In the fall, I want you to come help me out in my ministry and all this." And so I said, "Yeah, I'm coming back." And I was thinking about it at that time, but him calling me, I was like, "All right, it's gonna be all good," So I joined his ministry, and I started working with him and for him. And I started to get friends. He's a professor, but he was a younger guy, probably late 30s at the time. And so I started to get friends that were just a little bit older than me and like a little bit more down the road from me. And so I've tried to keep that where like the people that I allow to influence me and these are the people that I call regularly. I'm pretty good about keeping in contact with people that I need in my life to keep me stable. Mm-hmm. And so I have guys I'm 28. I have guys that are 35, 32, 39, 45, like around that part in their life so that, okay, their kids are a little bit older than mine.
Yep.
They're a little bit further in ministry or a little bit further in their career than I am. It's not just, youth pastors and pastors. I mean, I got people younger than me that are pastors that I went to school with and that I talk to. And so, but I try to make sure that I maintain relationships with people that are just like the next stage down from me that are doing it right. Because then I can say, all right, what did you do? What were the decisions that led you to having not just, okay, you had a good 3-year-old. Now you have a good 7-year-old or 8-year-old that is thriving in school. They're in sports and all this. What did you do to get there? Okay. And then, all right, then I do that. And then, and then I have people that are 60 and that are grandparents and, successful ministries.
Yes.
That I'm in their ear just constantly. And I know, they're like, all right, this kid's annoying, like, whatever. But it's those people is who I want to feed me.
Yes.
And those are the people who, when I have a hard time, they're the ones who help me out.
Yes.
Like there's a guy, I'll say his name, Stuart Mason, and he's a pastor out in Oregon. He's from my home church.
Yeah.
Like literally, Colorado kind of blew up, and it didn't end the way that I wish it would have when we moved there. It didn't end well. moved back to Oregon, and like legit, Stuart Mason like pretty much saved my marriage, and just counseled me, helped both of us get resettled and recalibrate and all this.
Yeah.
Like, when the tough times came and like the depression came and all this, I didn't call people I went to school with.
You called someone that was older.
I called somebody who was older, who has been through this.
You have to, though.
That's it.
But you have to. I know one person, Pastor Simon. I know you've heard a lot about him. I mean, he was my go-to person. Like, anytime that I was confused about like a certain section of the Bible, I'm just like, okay, well, what does that mean? Mm-hmm. Call him up. Be like, hey, man, I'm this 21-year-old kid that's just trying to bother you. But he would be my influence.
Yeah.
He was so crucial. But, but that's really the number one thing that you kept on saying, what I think people will blow over a lot, is that you're going to people that are older than you.
Yep.
And that have the same mindset and same similar goals as you. You said about the one person about with your marriage, they're 60 years old. Mm-hmm. I mean, they would be able to give you a better answer than someone that is 25.
Yep.
Because they don't know.
Right.
But that's so huge that you said that.
Yeah. It's huge. And again, it's going back to who are the people that you allow to speak into your life.
Yes. And if those people don't have the influence that you need to cut them out.
Yep.
You need to come out. And the thing is a lot of people think this, and I'm going to say this, you're not a bad person if you cut them out.
Sure.
You're not. Because at the end of the day,
it's important.
They are not going to be with you when they're not going to be standing right next to you when you're facing Jesus.
Yep.
You are.
Yep.
And I think that's really huge. So who are your top three? I want to know this. Who are your top three influences?
My influences?
Your top three.
Are you talking about like real people in my life?
Yeah.
Or like social media?
No, real people.
Yeah, let's see. Okay. I got a guy, Caleb Terry.
Okay.
Just started a church in Nashville.
Nice.
He's the man.
Okay.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, he's like that next level for me.
Yes.
And so him, I got a guy, I call him Uncle Mike. He's that professor from college.
Yes.
He's a youth pastor.
Yes.
But like, he runs a lot more than we do.
Yeah.
And he's like that in my ministry.
Uh-huh.
That's it. That's where I'm going. That's the vibe I want. That's the people making decisions that I want. That's where he's at. Mm-hmm. And you said top three.
Top three.
You know what? My dad.
Your dad?
Yeah.
I like that
one. He's always been huge in my life, and he's got the work ethic that I wish I had. Mm-hmm. Just his whole life, worked his fingers to the bone to provide for his family. That's big for me. Mm-hmm. What about you?
All right. So one has passed, but I still, it's like I still remember everything. My grandfather, Jack Dobbins-Beck, best man that I've ever known. Best man. So he passed, but he was a huge influence in my life. He literally taught me how to be a man. It was crazy. Another one's Kelly Howe. You already know this. I mean, great woman, tells me a lot about everything. And I would say, that's a tough one. I would say, I would say another one is my mom's boss, actually, Dr. James Anderson. He's actually my doctor. So he is a great Christian man, like huge, great Christian man. I mean, before we even start my appointment, he's like, all right, we're praying. I'm like, cool, that's cool. And then he gives me lessons on life and, how a man should be. I mean, I remember we had a 3-hour conversation about the difference between love and trust. And what a man should know about that.
Yeah.
So I would say those are my top three.
That's awesome.
That'd be my.
That's a good three.
Mm-hmm.
Good deal. I think that's a great place to leave it for this week.
I think that's a great place.
And influences. Watch who is speaking into your life.
Yes, 100%.